Alex Cora not happy with the way the team played yesterday. He'd been happy prior to that.
Yeah, no, they've been doing great.
They've lost 5 in a row. They're 4 games under 500. For more on this, Rob Bradford, WEEI, and the Baseball Isn't Boring podcast. You can check it out on the Odyssey app. He joins us every Thursday at 11:30. He's brought to you by McFarland Energy, the heating, cooling, and bioheat delivery pros that Eastern Mass and all of Cape Cod depends on at McFarlandEnergy.com.
Oh, my. If there was ever a time to yell McFarland, it is now.
Yes.
I mean, let's go. I am ready to go. I'm ready to rant. Let's go.
There's a lot to rant
There's
about.
a lot to rant
There
about.
is.
Where do you want to start? Rant away.
Let's just, hey, Boston Red Sox. Just play the great game of baseball, all right? Just stop overthinking things. Just play the great game of baseball. Hey, Boston Red Sox front office, just put the best team on the field. I mean, just put your best foot forward. That's what this is all about. You know, I wrote about this today. I looked back, and the Mets, this was the jumping off point for the Mets. People didn't realize or forget they were 11 games under 500 right now. 11 games under 500. They're like 19 games back. And then they have a team meeting. They had some hard conversations. They make some tough decisions. And next thing you know, they had the best record in baseball, land in the National League Championship Series. It's about making tough decisions. It's about getting uncomfortable. It's about not saying, well, we think this is happening back 2 months ago. We think this is happening a month ago. It is about looking at what you have and making tough decisions. And we can go through this. We can go through Devers. The answer that Craig Breslow gave about the Crochet 85 pitch thing, I had said that initially. I had said that right out of the gate. Cora was getting ripped for this. I said, just listen to Cora before the game. He said, people smarter than me make these decisions about how long these guys go. He was setting this up already. And that isn't good. That isn't good. Craig can talk about how this is a collaborative thing. But I come back to Joe Madden. When Joe Madden got fired, he said one of the problems with managing now is that when the game starts, you have 7 voices in your head. And that's sort of how it feels right now. I mean, I'm all over the place.
No.
But
who's safer, Craig Breslow or Alex Cora? Who do you think John Henry would side with?
I think it's even right now. I think everyone talks about Cora.
But if he's going to side with one.
Oh, if Henry?
Yeah.
No. I think it's honestly I'm not copping out. I think this is a reality. I think it's too early for Breslow, the guy that they hired. They know the narrative of 4 years and out. They don't want to do this all over again. They probably like a lot of what he did. And by the way, Craig Breslow had a great offseason, the guys they brought in. And this, we know that how much they really, really like Alex Cora. We could talk about Alex Cora's year, but how much they value and like Alex Cora, no matter what the record is, no matter what the actions are this year, whatever it is. So that's your answer to your question.
I just don't understand how you can like a manager so much when you take away so much of his responsibilities or what the responsibilities used to be in the past. I know all teams use a lot of stats and advanced metrics and everything else. But if you're not going to let the manager kind of manage on feel or each day is a little bit different, I don't know why you pay him all that money to begin with.
I think it's a problem throughout baseball, and I think Cora's, when we look at Cora, and we've talked about Cora's season so far, whenever a manager is having a bad year, a lot of times, who's had a good year in the past, and we think he's a good manager, a lot of times it's not having a feel for exactly what you have, and come back to it. When you have a lot of voices in your head, when you have a lot of stuff going on. I look at some of the decisions in the last 2 games, for instance, and you have the pinch running for Narvaez, right? And then it comes back to Connor Wong.
They pitch around Devers to pitch to Wong.
Right.
Yep.
So you're just a little off. I get what you're doing. You're just a little off. Yesterday, you pinch hit for Marcelo Meyer with Christian Campbell, who is the worst hitter in baseball in the month of May. I mean, that is no.
What about Trevor Story?
No,
he's worse than Trevor Story.
Worse.
He's got competition.
Worse OPS in the month of May.
Wow.
And so
impressive.
You pinch it, and that comes back to I don't know if Cora has a good grasp of what Marcelo Meyer is yet, and in large part because all these moving parts, all these different things, you just have to lock in on what you feel confident in. And I said this today, okay, this is how I view it. I have seen enough where I know that Christian Campbell, I don't know what you're doing moving him around all over the place. Send him down to the minors, have him learn first base, get his confidence back. He looks like a completely different guy than he did in April. there. Move Ceddanne Rafaela into the infield. I know that he's one of the best defensive outfielders in baseball. I don't care. What is best for this team is him playing the infield and Roman Anthony playing the outfield. Also, this is an enormous part of this, perception-wise, Rafael Devers, even if it's just giving him a glove, going out to first base, taking a couple grounders, the perception of it is so powerful right now. Instead of, after the game, I'm watching the NESN feed, and he's just sitting in the dugout, staring straight ahead, clearly upset they lost. But all I'm thinking is, well, if you're that upset that you lost,
right,
then aren't you doing everything possible to change that narrative?
Correct. Did they play David Hamilton? He'd never played third base before. They played David Hamilton at third.
Everybody plays 100 positions.
This guy won't get off his ass and play third base. Twitch chat, by the way, loving Mad Bradfo. Just
Mad
FYI, Mad Brad is what they're loving. But on Devers, why on? I still can't wrap my head around that Cora answer yesterday from pregame. The door is shut on third base, but they're going to have future conversations about first? Like, what? How did you read into that answer from Cora? I thought the door was slammed shut at first.
So I've heard a lot of what you're saying, and I don't disagree. I mean, listen, the guy, you go back to the no press conference, and you wanted to play. Okay, here's your chance to play. All right. The third base thing, I think, is they just say, and I don't necessarily disagree with this, Marcelo Meyer, till Alex Bregman comes back, you're a third baseman. You're a third baseman. He's going to be better than Devers, is fine. But still, if Rafael Devers ever wants to play in the field again, it is going to be at first base. And so that's where, like, you have to say, hey, here's your chance, Rafi. If you want to play at all, and maybe he can't play there. Maybe he won't be any good. But the reality is that right now, as we sit here, I'll come back to the Mets thing. They have this team meeting on May 29th after being beat 10-3 by the Dodgers. After they fall in 11 games under 500, they have a team meeting and have hard conversations, make tough decisions. That's what we're talking about here. Yeah, this isn't easy to backtrack Rafael Devers, but still, what is the best for the team? If you don't want to be in the dugout staring straight ahead, wondering what's going on, then you, if nothing else, just take a couple grounders at first before the game. See if it hits. Because even if you don't play first base, it sends the message that you so valuable need right now.
Craig Breslow said a lot of big words this morning, but what is the real reason Roman Anthony's not up yet?
Oh, I actually believe that they think that they're slow playing this, but it makes no sense.
Yeah.
I mean, because we talked about this before when it said about, well, we don't want to make it seem like have to be the guy. Well, Marcelo Meyer was just called up. Right. Marcelo Meyer is.
But also 2 weeks ago, there wasn't as much of a sense of urgency, like the season slipping away. They weren't great. They were 2 games over 500. But we all wanted Roman Anthony up 2 weeks ago, and they weren't bringing him up, and it wasn't a savior scenario then.
Even then, you can say, oh, well, you have Bregman, you have this offense, it's okay, and everything else. But and I agree with you. Okay. But right now, it's not. There's no room for interpretation.
No,
I mean, there's zero room for interpretation in terms of what you need for what's best for the baseball team. Are you going to be as good defensively in the outfield? No. But you need to find answers offensively. Roman Anthony is an answer offensively. Roman Anthony is a guy that you can put in the middle of the order, much like they just had Marcelo Meyer hitting cleanup, by the way. Mm-hmm. And the good thing I like about both those guys is that they're and you guys know Marcelo Meyer.
Well, we're best friends with Marcelo Meyer.
Anyone.
Yeah.
But I've said this before. They're just the right amount of cocky, right? Mm-hmm. They're not going to, when Tristan Casali says his thing about all these guys being wanted to sink down, they didn't say, oh, Tristan, you're so right. No, they're like, what are you talking about? I'm going to make the team, you know? Mm-hmm. And so I don't think there's an element of, oh, we're going to be blown away if we get to the major leagues. So to answer your question, I do think that they're like, oh, we got to check off this box, that box, this box. But it comes back to this. What is best for the team? And last thing on that respect, the Garrett Crochet thing. Yeesh. Like Garrett Crochet, I said this at the outset. I said that, that this was, everyone's railing on Cora. I said, this is the thing. But Crochet is an example of, you don't just take what's in a vacuum. You don't just take this because everybody knew at that time you had one reliever who hadn't pitched. You had one reliever available. So you have baseball scientists. You have to factor all that in. Much like this with Roman Anthony. Yeah, maybe he doesn't know how to slide quite the way that you want. Maybe he isn't the greatest left fielder. But for what your team needs at the most important time, you have to call this guy up because that skill set. And by the way, the Crochet thing, and what we should also factor in, at that point in time, they needed to keep the momentum going. They needed that
100%.
They needed the win because you know what's happened. You know what happened since?
They don't win.
Yeah,
they lost like every game.
They won that series. They won 2 out of 3 in that series. It felt like a loss. Best case scenario, it's the off day. Even a minor move. Are we getting anything today? Are we getting any moves today?
Yeah, I tuned into 2:15, right, with Alex Cora. I mean, it certainly didn't feel like when Craig Breslow was talking this morning.
I agree.
It was going to be anything.
I didn't get the sense. Maybe he was being real cagey.
Yeah.
I didn't get the sense anything was happening.
I mean,
we've already said
other than bringing the infield in with 2 outs.
we've already
Outside
said
the box.
if the team doesn't want to do it, we're going to put it on ourselves to go to Worcester and go get the guy. We're going to
bring him. We'll literally drive him to Fenway.
We are going to go get Roman Anthony if the Red Sox
That's usually
won't
how
do
it works. You have to drive somebody.
I won't lose my keys.
You won't lose your
I'll have my
keys.
keys on me. And
They're
we'll
not,
go get Roman Anthony.
They're not in Pawtucket anymore. We don't have to cross state lines.
No.
It's all within the state.
As a, what is he, 22? Yeah. I think as a 22-year-old, I probably lost my keys, but probably not for 3 weeks.
No, that seems like a long time to not have the keys.
Somebody texted us. I think the ghost probably did it. I think it's probably what was going on.
Yeah.
Well, Bradfo, I like
fiery Bradford.
I like this side of you.
Well deserved.
Not to say that I don't always enjoy our chats, but I like this side of you.
Fork of the road. What's today? Thursday.
Yes.
Rubber meets the road Thursday.
That's right.
I like Madfo joining us here on Thursdays on Jones.
Let me write that down.
All right, yeah. Another marketing
Baseball
opportunity.
certainly isn't boring.
Check out the Baseball Isn't Boring podcast on the Odyssey app and check them out all over WEEI. It's Jones and Keefe. We're brought to you by Jackson Lumber and Millwork. Visit Jackson Lumber and Millwork for all your residential remodeling or commercial building materials and supplies. At Jackson Lumber and Millwork, providing solutions and delivering results since 1946.